Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of how to drift a car in Forza Horizon 5. So today we're looking at the tuning portion of everything. So I'm here in my usual stomping ground, right here at the top of the volcano, best drift zone North America. And today we're going to look at the tuning settings. So we're going to run through the tuning settings and how I go about everything, and then we're going to do one run after I get the tune, and just so we can see the difference. So you saw my previous run, got a score of 900k or something around there. And so in this one, we're hoping to break the million mark. So with this PSI, first thing I look at is I think about how much horsepower does the car have, around 350, 380. And I think to myself, do I need more tire pressure in the rear so there's less grip and I can kick it out more? Or do I need higher grip in the front, less grip in the rear? And this is the balance. So front tire pressure, when you think about it, the front tires aren't going to heat up as fast as the rears, and with the PSI you want it to be at under full heat, so once they're up to warmth and everything's around 33, or from that 30 to 33 range. So since the rear tires going to be spinning more friction, more heat, I like to keep it around 26, 27. Front tire pressure around 25, 30.5, not 25, 30, 30.5, 30, however you want to do it. Again, if you want less grip, put the rear up to 30s. And these are for lower horsepower cars. Typically with the higher horsepower cars, you're not going to be in the 30 ranges, so leave it. For this car, we'll leave it there. For our final drive for transmission gear, you don't want to get too into the actual gears. Typically, I just start off with the final drive. So if you look at the bottom right, you'll see the gears just visualized. So what I do is for 5th gear, I bring it as close as I can there. That typically gets you your desired RPM range in regards to your gears. Sometimes this will be fine, and you find that during the run I needed 5th to be a little bit more longer. Then you just go ahead and actually move it more towards speed. You see how it gets longer? Or you know what, I was hovering around 8,000 RPM, but I needed the extra 1,000. Then I'll just go ahead and put it up, and now it's probably gonna bang out the limiter in 5th gear. So we just leave it out there for now. So camber, in my frame of mind, I usually just leave the front camber alone, either from 4.5 to -5. Personal preference here, I'll go to 4.8, just keep it in the middle. Rear camber, there's going to be less tire contact if you have more negative camber. So if you have it at -4.7, and so if you have it above -2 camber, then there's not going to be enough grip in the rear for you to actually get some speed, but it will help you lose the rear end a little bit more. Again, personal preference, I leave it around like -1 to -1.5 is a safe amount. I'll just leave it at -1. You can forget toe for now. Most cars, they just leave the toe alone. Front caster is always going to be set to high angle, so you can leave that one there. Anti-roll bars is how much the body is actually gonna roll when you're doing any transitions or you're mid-corner. Typically, I like to keep these close to the same, so I'll do 27, 30, 20, and I usually don't go above 30 depending on the car. If it's a heavier car, then I might go above 30, but since this thing only weighs 2,600, 27, 26, keep these like one apart. It's a good place to be. Springs, I usually like to keep it in the 7 to 800. Whatever 7 to 800 is not really static. If you look at this, wherever the middle point is, I like to keep it at 40-30% of whatever that middle point is. So 740, and then I like to have a lot of squat. So under acceleration, the rear is going to soften up, and there's going to be more grip transitioning towards the rear. So I like to keep these around 100 apart. Just visually, again, these numbers aren't concrete. There's no science behind these numbers. I tune my cars visually, so as you can see here. Ride height will always be slammed. Rebound stiffness, I usually mentally keep it around 10.5. This is kind of like one of the static settings for me. 10.5 is a really good place where it allows the actual suspension to not get too crazy when you're driving over bumps, especially elevation changes. And then for the bump stiffness, I just do the half of what I do above. And that's just rule of thumb for me. Again, This might be different for you, but I keep it like this, and I rarely mess with these settings once I set them like this. And differential, just lock them out. 100% and deceleration 0. So that'll give you the effect of like a welded diff. Second, I immediately tell fourth gear can use a little bit of work. But I mean, third gear isn't the longest gear anymore. See, now I'm banging out the limiter on in third. So during these runs, it's good to make mental notes like, okay, now I know fourth gear needs a little bit more work. Maybe it's a final drive thing. Maybe I can just shorten fourth gear so I am on the limiter there, because everything else feels good. And this is something you're just going to have to figure out just from feeling it. Suspension-wise, everything feels good. And one thing I've noticed that no matter, once you figure out your foundational spring tunes, your camber and your toe, it really becomes, okay, is it not losing enough grip? Is there anything that's not feeling right from your perspective? Is holding angle a little bit too difficult? Am I gaining too much angle where I just can't control it? It can be a variety of factors. Those usually come down to camber, but again, you won't figure that out until you've tuned a couple. Like, I think where I'm at today, I probably tuned thousands of cars. But I've been doing this since like what? Forza 3, whenever that released. And sometimes you don't want to just change things immediately. Of course, if it's a glaring gearing issue, that's fine, but give it a run or two. Make sure it's not yourself. I come to that realization a lot, where it's not the car, it's me just being bad, and that's okay. But as long as you can identify, like if it's a car problem, sure, but if it's a you problem, then you kind of have to edit. That's where the self-reflection comes in, and you have to start to realize, okay, what can I do better? Is the line I'm running bad? How can I improve my line? Is it a speed issue? What's going on? Tuning can only get you so far until you start reaching like a skill gap. Yeah, honestly, I think the gearing is the only thing that needs any substantial work. A lot of cars, once you figure out the gearing for a specific course or a specific section, that's pretty much it. I think it got the same score. But see, now you get the gist of it. Now I'm going to come in here, I'm going to tune car, the gearing sucks, let me increase the gearing, maybe that works, let me add a little bit more camber, gearing sucks, I think I need a little bit of help sliding out a little bit more, then put a bit of camber in the rear toe, just so I get a little bit more. Once I get kicked out, I can control it. That felt fine. These, again, those are really static and they don't really change much, but you go ahead and run it again. Yeah, you just go through the iterative process. You just keep going. Don't be scared to mess with settings. Again, you can always just save a tuning setup and then mess with it. And if you like the previous one, just load it back up. But yeah, I think for the sake of the episodes, I'm gonna go through my next drift build is gonna be this specific 350. So, and then where I do a deep dive on all the settings and make it to where I get 1 million. I don't know about the personal best, but at least 1 million, I can make it happen with this car. So with that being said, that's the 101 to tuning. You just have to go through the process, be iterative about it, be patient. You're not gonna have a Formula D car in 20-30 minutes. You see my videos, I go 30-40 minutes with trying to tune every single little thing to make it feel like a competitive car, as far as the leaderboards and whatever it may be. With that being said, have a great day. Get out there and go tuning. Hey, Hatsune Miku-chan. Yep. Have a fun time. See you guys later.